welcome back. It feels like it's been a minute. Holy smokes. Welcome, everybody. Let me know in the chat that you can see me. YouTube have done all sorts of crazy stuff over there. So I think I'm live. I think you guys can see me. I'm hoping you guys can see me. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is. Gosh, let me tell you, it's been a rough ride. I am not even lying to you guys. JJ and the fam, welcome in on TikTok. It's been a minute. Holy, yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to get too much into it because who the heck knows what is going to go and what is going down. But what I can tell you is it has literally been the worst week ever. It just has. Like, it's literally taken forever. It's been a nightmare. Like, doesn't matter what happened. Like, yeah, it just has been literally the worst thing in the world. But we're back, hopefully. Yeah. Man, my hair's even a bit longer. I didn't realize my hair was that long, actually. But anyway, how have you been? I didn't even know what to prep for this stream, in fairness. So I was just happy that it always worked. And I think we're live. Oh, it feels good to be back. I'm not even kidding. I am not even kidding. It feels great to be back. Welcome in everybody on TikTok as well. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you. For anyone who hasn't known, by the way, my channel had a strike against it. So I was banned from uploading content. I was banned from going live for 7 days. And look, YouTube have got their reasons. That's fine. I'm not here to criticize. I'm just here to be thankful that I'm back. And I'm back with you guys. So I appreciate it. Do share the live. Share the stream. Let everybody know we're back. We are here. Casey, I missed you too as well. Honestly, it has literally been the most insane week ever. It feels like it's taken forever. The markets have been like all over the place. And yeah, like I literally have just been like, oh man, I just want to live. I even thought about going live last night, actually, in fairness. But yeah, so we're back. Oh, it's super great news. Super great news. So I appreciate everybody. Appreciate the support, all the messages. You guys have been fantastic. But we're back. And hopefully all things will be good and we can continue on. And yeah, hopefully kind of did wonder I did wonder where you've been. Yeah, trust me. That's why you should be the Discord. So I did live stream a couple of times on another channel, but it just wasn't the same, really. I know a couple of you tuned in. But anyway, it is good to have you all back. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that kind of good stuff. Let's let everybody know that we are back, baby, and we are here to talk all things cryptocurrency. We'll get into anything you guys have got, any questions, any thoughts. We may go on for a little bit longer on tonight's live stream. I don't know. We'll sort of see how the night plays out, really. You ain't missed anything. See, yeah. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on the markets, but yeah, not too much. Hey, I remember this blow was going on, Stu. Schon das wieder Stromers. Maybe that was it. I need to just, honestly, I'm like second guessing everything. Second guessing literally everything. But anyway, smash the like button, get all excited. Let's talk about the greatest thing on the world, which is not the screen you're looking at right now, by the way. Just FYI, it is actually going to be this screen here, which probably won't work. Yeah, I didn't think it would. Which is kind of annoying. So, yeah, my OBS weirdly crashed just as I was about to click the live button. So anyway, there we go. There we go. And remember, everybody, it is important to reference that it's not financial advice on this channel. This is just, you know, my interpretation and my opinion of what is going on. So it is important to, you know, to always be sure of the disclaimers here on the channel. So welcome, Stanton. Good to see you, Alvin. Man, Alvin's shop's getting pretty close well, which is exciting. XRP and Sol teaming up. Brad, we're going to talk all about that in just a minute. It's going to be pretty wild. Rob, what's going on, bro? Welcome in. Welcome in. Okay, we do actually have some stuff. I've had a week to prep for tonight's live stream. So we're talking Solana and XRP partnership. I want to talk about the US markets and specifically why we see these massive dumps when the markets open. I've got some pretty inside info stuff that we'll touch on, which I think is going to be pretty interesting as well. So, yeah, so we're going to get into all of it. Tony, what's going on? Welcome in, Tim. Good to see you, buddy, as well. Billy Bob, what's going on? Welcome. Welcome. God, the guys are back. Ugh. Man, it feels like it's a minute. I may even live stream tomorrow night because I feel like we haven't been here and I feel like not taking a day off tomorrow and just getting absolutely back into the swing of things. So I did have a couple of videos go out today, as you would expect. I'm super low down in the algorithm, super behind, but, you know, like anything, we just got to work hard and keep going. So, with that being said, nice it's out of the way. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I massively, genuinely do appreciate it as well. I genuinely do appreciate it as well. So I didn't have your opinion to go, so I just pulled out of everything. Fair play. So yeah, so I appreciate you guys. And let's get into a little bit as to what's going on. And yeah, nothing else exciting, to be honest. I was going to try and do a few bits and pieces, but yeah, I didn't. So anyway, good. Right. I thought you should go live tomorrow. Yeah, I think so as well. Hold on until the crypto bull comes into play. Well, they don't think it's going to come this side of the year, at the end of the year. Craig, thank you so much for the gifted membership. It's cool. Crackerjack, what's going on, bro? Welcome in. Yeah, Crackerjack, my channel got banned for 7 days, so that's why I couldn't do it. Professor Bolter, crypto's in the pits. Yeah, it is pretty challenging. Okay, let's talk about what's going on in the markets. And here we go. The daily candles. Interesting enough, Bitcoin looking like it's got some pretty strong support at this bottom level here. 85.6, 2 or 3 retests of this lower range. I think it's fair to say, just in my opinion, obviously this is not financial advice, never is on this channel, but you know, certainly we are in a very slight macro uptrend. If you were to, you know, take this as an idea, this is obviously where I think, for me, this is the bottom of the current price range, in my opinion, by the way. Oh, you guys want to see it, don't you? Hold on a minute, TikTok. 1 second. Hold on 1 secondo. There you go, look. Oop. There you go. So yeah, so that we kind of do have a little bit of an uptrend at the minute. Not super crazy. Today hasn't been the greatest of days. And we'll talk about a little bit as to why that is, because the answer is this massive red candle is kind of nothing to do with the crypto market. Nothing at all, actually. We will talk about what that was and why that is, because it's a pretty big political standpoint with a couple of companies maybe highlighting that it's bad news, all right? Maybe highlights bad news. But look, again, we'll talk a little bit more about what is coming. But look, in a very shallow uptrend, what we don't want to see is this break here. This is important. So this kind of uptrend line that we've got acting as key resistance here back on the 7th of December. Once again, yesterday's pretty big capitulation. Sorry, Tuesday's pretty big capitulation down. And then we sort of holding up right now on the on today's in terms of Friday, but still wicking down to this channel. So this for me right now is kind of where we sit. And there's a ton of stuff going on. Obviously, the Fed cut 25 basis points, but I think it was, I mean, it was kind of like it was kind of an okay cut. But I think what we've seen today is that it's probably a cut that's showing the Fed's probably too late. All right, I think that's probably fair to say. And there's certainly some risks attached to the US economy, which we'll sort of touch on a little bit more. But I guess in the short term, if you're very, very narrow-minded and narrow-focused, you would argue and say, well, actually, to a bit, this is an uptrend, our side trending in the middle as well. And what we might be about to get here, which is kind of interesting, is a potential cross here of the 200 and the 50-day SMA, which is kind of interesting. Thanks for continuing to go. Hey, M. Kriegs, the thing I saw, you should have been at the hospital like a week ago. But anyway, I hope it gets sorted. And yeah, good, and hope you're doing well, in fairness. But yeah, you should have gone to the hospital way sooner than that. Anyway. But good to have you. Too late, Powell. Well, and that's the answer. It could well look like Powell is indeed too late. We will see. Do I know that the OCC... Well, I do, in fact, and we're going to talk all about it. It's actually here, look. The OCC has conditionally approved application convert for the state trust company. It's actually not just Ripple. It's someone else as well. So, Axe21, good to see you, man. Welcome in. Welcome in. Okay. So, when we look at the macro charts, actually you say, well, you know what? We are in a marginal uptrend. A breakdown below. I still, by the way... I mean, yeah, I'm surprised you couldn't fix it yourself, but I still believe in the short term, by the way, that this is actually a bearish setup, and the market still definitely feels a little bit more bearish than you would like to think. Yes, we're holding 90K, which isn't the worst price range to hold, and actually we have seen significant bounce from around 90,000 previously when it's acted as a little bit of support. So when we've come down and tested it, you can see this range here, we did actually get a similar bounce. The one to be mindful of, though, is actually when we get this bounce, we need to break back above this. And if you caught my video from earlier on, then it talks a lot about why the 50-day exponential moving average is going to be a key thing. So you can see here, for example, we came back down, we retested the lower range on the 200 exponential moving average, bounced up to the 50, rejected, and that sent us down to new lows. And actually, this kind of continues and plays out over quite a substantial amount where we see the wick down. Again, you see here, look, the retest, and then obviously we fall back down again. So this is kind of an important bit. The problem... a little bit is you haven't got super macro stuff to kind of really push it. Welcome back to Bit. Broke the market whilst you're away. Well, I mean, the market is kind of doing okay. I'm trying to think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, technically, when did I get that one? It's that Thursday. Yeah, it's about the same sort of price. So, you know, people didn't want to go too crazy while I wasn't here. But it's going on 37. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you. So, you know, this is kind of where we sit. What's happened, and, you know, I absolutely hear the frustration in a number of people's voices, is the altcoin market. So this is obviously the total 2 getting absolutely, punished today in the market. Still within the range, which I think is important to reference here on the macro. And actually, this structure is still playing out, again, bouncing off this lower support, but it is pretty painful right now, specifically if you are way more involved in altcoins than, say, maybe you are in specifically Bitcoin as an example. So there's definitely a little bit within this. And then equally, you've got things like USDC dominance is going up as well. But we'll touch on a little bit more of that as we walk through tonight's live stream. So without, today's the exception, actually the market structure's kind of held up all right. It's going on, Vern. It's kind of held up all right. We're not going to go too far and say that it's like super crazy. And, we've definitely seen some kind of macro pain today. But look, I think as long as we don't break below this support level, which right now I've got that around 89,000, which if you look on a shorter time frame, for example, on the 4 hour, look at this kind of movement that you've got on here. But very interesting that we hit this 4 hours. Griff, 2-bit where you've been. My channel got a strike, so I got banned for 7 days from uploading and going live. So yeah, so we got the channel back as of this morning. We've had a couple of videos out, and here we are. We're back. So yeah, good to have everybody joining, and thank you so much as always. Davo, you massive legend. Appreciate you being in here. I think what's interesting with this chart setup, and I want to touch on a little bit more about this, is when you look at some of these moves, so you get the move up, consolidate, and then the move back down again. And this has been happening now for the duration of, well, I mean, literally probably over the last sort of 2 months. And I want to talk specifically about what that is, because, again, there's a couple of rumors that we sort of have an idea about where it is. But, again, you can see the support line now is becoming very, very important in a short term, right? In a short term. And I think it's worth noting that we actually need to see probably a 98, 99K retest if we were to say, yes, the bull market's back on. Yes, I feel more optimistic within the market. Or actually, this could just be a small relief rally. We do need to trade cautiously and with an element of macro understanding as to what's going on in the market. So look, that gives us an idea as to sort of where the market sits right now. Let's talk a little bit about what is within this. What can we be looking at? What's important? And some of the key factors that I think are worthwhile noting as we sort of walk through this as well. So when we take a look at fear and greed index, actually stepped back up 29. Hey, good news. We'll take fear and greed. People are less panicky, albeit still pretty panicky. And I think while ever we've seen this real volatility in the market, in my opinion, remember, in my opinion, not anyone's opinion, just in my opinion, okay? There is a reality here of trying to shake people out. I'm not saying the bull run is back on. I'm not saying we're going to $500,000 by the end of next week. I'm not, by the way. But I do think there is an element here where we are trying to certainly maneuver the market in a specific way. And I'll talk about why I think that is in just a minute. But the crypto fear index rising to 29 from its lows of 10. It actually went to 9, which was extreme fear back at the sort of, end point of November 21st. Sentiment, however, is shifting from extreme fear to fear. People are still like, well, this might not be great. It might not be great. There's still kind of loads of this macro stuff going on that just like breaks the markets like really quickly. And, instantly the US economy is a bit like, we just might roll over as an example. And we saw that with MSTR the last time we were sort of live. We also saw that with Coinbase and a couple of others that have been kind of walking through. So it is worth noting on a couple of points here that there is certainly an interesting to what is happening. So again, worth noting, again, what we have seen though from the lows historically, when we've seen these move downs into this bottom end, this extreme fear zone, actually we've then bounced and started to push back to the upside. Doesn't mean it's going to happen this time, but certainly that is what history does tell us. And what's interesting is when you look at kind of what's been happening here in the last 7 days, and it's actually a bit bigger than this. We're going to dive into a little bit more about what I think is going on in the market. Does it indicate we've got a bull market? I don't know, but I think it's worth noting here. This is the last 7-day Bitcoin chart, and what you can see here is aggressive pushing up, which, if you think about pushing the price of BTC from 89,500 to 94,500 within the space of a couple of days, you kind of need a bit of capital to do that. Davo, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. You kind of need some big pockets to be able to do that, and if you don't have big pockets, you're probably not going to be there. For example, it's not like something I could just be like, oh, I'm just going to pump the market by about $5,000. It just simply isn't the case, and then we see this kind of do it. Now, there's 2 reasons I think for this let's call it for this price action. Okay, let's maybe not go too strong at the minute. One is that you've got extreme nervousness in the market. So people don't trust pumps. They almost fear dumps. So people are kind of super, what was the word I would look for? like super sensitive to pretty extreme price action. So if you're a big market maker, as an example, you've got a ton of capital you can mess around with. Well, then this is the perfect environment for you to thrive, which I think is why we are seeing such a big move, because actually people are just being led down the garden path, and they aren't in a world of thinking, well, the bottom's in, buy the dip, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I think that's fair enough. But how this plays out is interesting. And then this isn't my work, by the way. This is coming from someone called Bull Theory, which actually originally posted this back in December 8th. But I did think it was interesting to kind of take a look at it. And he says something like this: why Bitcoin dumps at 10 a.m. when the US market opens. Now, if you follow me on social media, you will have seen me posting about this. I think many of us are, wow, what's going on, Chowdhury? When we see alt season, I mean, hopefully soon, but it feels like maybe 2026 is the kind of key thing to look out for now. But he argues the point here, saying this: today, Bitcoin erased 16 hours of gains in just 20 minutes. So cast your minds back to, where we saw, when was it? Like December 10th, December 8th, okay? And he says here, today, Bitcoin erased 16 hours of gains in just 20 minutes after the US market opens. Since early November, BTC has dumped most of the time after the US market opens. The same thing happened in Q2 and Q3. Zero Hedge has been calling this out repeatedly, and he thinks Jane Street. Now, I'm not super familiar with who Jane Street are. Like, I think they're some sort of big corporation. Large frequency trading firm. But essentially what happens is the market's open, they dump the market, and then they buy back over the course of the day. So essentially they buy in here at the bottom, and then they ride it back up, allowing them to accumulate huge amounts of BTC over this sort of period of time, and then equally not paying a significant amount of money on it, which is, I guess if you've got money and you've got the ability to do that, well, then it's maybe not the worst idea in the world. Obviously, it's not really legal, but hey, 378 million just today, 283 million in longs. And we've been talking about this for a while. What happens when you continually liquidate longs? People eventually stop trading. They say, hey, this isn't markets for me. I'm not about it. And there's an argument right now that maybe this is the reason. And when we split over the course of the last 7 days, it certainly is playing out to say something. I'm not saying that this is 100% guaranteed, by the way, but something isn't right. And I think that's probably fair to say that, certainly when you look at this and and even today's a great example. If we were to look at it here on the 1 hour chart as today, right? This is a great example of what we're talking about. So you get this kind of rally up at the late part of last night, right up here. So we push up to about $93,000, up to around. Man, OBS disconnected. What is going on? What is going on tonight? Everything. It's my first live stream back, and OBS keeps disconnecting me. What is happening, bro? Sorry. OBS is having an absolute nightmare. I don't know what's up with it. But so look at this. So we come down here, we retest this kind of low range. We then consolidate from around 1 a.m., right? 1 a.m. And we consolidate all the way across. Nothing happened until market opens. If you went to a half an hour, you'd actually see it here on the half an hour chart. Look, 3 o'clock, US market opens, boom, shakalaka, down we dump, and then we consolidate again. So the argument is, what is this about? Now, some people will say, well, here is the gains that you've got from it. And this is kind of what doubles me back to maybe this isn't as clean as we maybe think it is. Equally, are people just taking the opportunity of having max fear in the market? Well, the reality is some of this stuff certainly is playing out. And then when you look at this chart, which is Bitcoin's exchange withdrawn transactions on Binance, well, the reality is we're seeing less and less come out of the market. In fact, we are seeing the complete opposite. So this little thin blue line here at the bottom is the exchange withdrawn transactions. So who is pulling capital out of the cryptocurrency exchanges? For example, here, Binance. Well, we aren't really seeing a lot. It's actually declining quite significantly, which tells us that there isn't a lot coming out of this. And in fact, aggressive Bitcoin accumulation is happening right now. Pretty interesting. And this aligns perfectly to global liquidity and continuing to rise after a small dump. Now, again, we must stress, this doesn't mean that the markets are going to pump to oblivion next week. This just means that, look, global liquidity is increasing. The Federal Reserve is officially printing money right now. They are buying treasuries, which again is good news. They're about 12.5 billion over the course of the last couple of weeks, which is kind of interesting. But, this certainly aligns to what we talked about. They dump the market, they accumulate at a lower price, they hold on, rinse, repeat, until obviously the Clarity Act comes in. Now, Clarity Act, interesting enough, looks like it's going to be delayed even further into 2026. So, hey, it is what it is. That's kind of where it is. But it's an interesting theory, isn't it? Interesting theory. And, we've kind of looked at a couple of videos before of people doing something similar. Is this just how life is now? Don't know, but it's pretty interesting. I used to obviously watch the BTC going on exchange earlier this year. I stopped paying attention for a while. Yeah, Fat Sonic, probably not the worst thing in the world. I think it's one of those, isn't it? Until it gets to a point where actually there is either a genuine short squeeze or there is an accumulation more than general or more than normal, then it's probably not even worth worrying about. You know, if we're still sat with over 2.5 million BTC on exchanges, it probably isn't the biggest deal in the world right now, albeit we are seeing a decline. Interesting enough, Ran, many of you will know him as Crypto Banter, does give an interesting view. And obviously he's been like super max bullish on this market. But what he says here, but the charts didn't behave like a real cycle. Bitcoin stalled, Ethereum stalled, Solana collapsed, albeit Solana feels like it's coming back now, which is kind of good news. But yeah, so I went back to the basic, analyzed the macro liquidity models and the past cycles, and the uncomfortable truth is this: 2025 has never had the conditions that start a bull market. KC, thank you so much. And actually, the key driver that mattered was missing global net liquidity. So we've been talking a while. I say we've been talking. Obviously, it's been a week since we were live. But certainly when you watched my videos, what we were talking about before everything sort of happened is liquidity is everything. Why? Because when you think about how Bitcoin trades, people buy it, people sell it. It's not an infinite amount. It can't be remade. It's just, is someone prepared to pay more than the other person paid for it? That's simple as that. Okay. Essentially liquidity. But what does that look like? Well, look, 2026 might be the real bull market cycle. Depends. QT ended, rates heading lower, which obviously we got the rate cut from Jerome Powell, which I think the market totally priced in and ended up just being a complete waste of time, albeit was a delayed waste of time, which is kind of fine. You just missed it. Go back, Cruise Light, go back to the start of the stream. I talked about how maybe, just maybe, this market is under the control of someone else. But yeah, go and check the start of the video out. It's definitely worth it. Specifically talking about this, and this. Okay, so go check it out. But yeah, TGA pressure is gone. Net liquidity is bottoming. PMI turning up, which, by the way, loads of people believe the ISM is going to turn over 50 next year in 2026. Look at something like Tesla stock starting to increase. Look at manufacturing output. There's been a 15% reduction productivity wise. So look, the ISM is actually moving up. And we could see this flip bullish, which historically has always kind of played out to show that actually that then correlates to a Bitcoin bull market cycle. Doesn't mean it happens again. Don't know. Institutional prayer and second wave inflows, regulation finally arriving. I think that's the big thing right now, is getting the clarity at past, in my opinion, right? That's kind of where I see it. But you can sort of see where this is important and how this kind of plays out going back over the years. And you can see the correlation between some of the key things as what's happened versus the price. So for example, QT started back in 2022. What happened? You can see that the market pushed down into the bottom, and then we've been slowly grinding up with a number of different things. Likewise, back here, QT started, and you can see the price come in. QT ended, we see a price tick to the upside. So, you know, again, this whole idea of the Fed, and the way to think about, you know, QT and QE, by the way, and if you didn't see I think I put a video out about 10 days ago. QT essentially takes money out of the system. If you imagine that the QT or the Federal Reserve is, you know, like the crystal maze where they just kind of grab all the, you know, it takes money out. So now we aren't essentially in QE, but we're starting to potentially look to print some more capital to put back in the market. Well, this is good. This is liquidity, which we're seeing obviously in the US and Japan. Now, we do obviously have the Japanese bond rate in about 6 days' time, so we do need to be mindful of that one. But yeah, worth noting. And I guess, where do you get to with all of this? You kind of go, well, I don't really know if the market's going to go up or going down. I think we could go either way. And I know that's such a proper cop-out, but it is really right now. We've got so much that is positive for the market, so much opportunity within the market, so much that could push us way higher, while at the same time, there is obviously significant risk that it's all just over and we all missed it and it's all going to zero, right? Which is kind of where I've been over the, you know, not necessarily going to zero, but I've just been sensible, if that makes sense. So that kind of gives you an idea as to why I think there is an important thing to keep an eye out for, specifically when you are looking at this and you are in a world of, hopefully, the market's going to continue over the back end of this week. And I talked about this in my video earlier on today, my view is the longer the cycle goes on, the more likely I think an upside move is versus a downside move. That's just my opinion. We'll go down even further to flush out retailers, then spike. I don't know if there's any retailers in. That's the point. That is the point, and I think that's why it's so heavily manipulated that I don't think there's a lot of retail in. Think about 2021, 2017. You could see a 20% drawdown on the market that got then sort of bought back up, if that makes sense. I don't necessarily think that is the case right now. That's just where I sit with it. So, we'll have to see. It's the end of the crypto era as we know it. 2026, time for the next episode. Baby, institutions in retail panicking and selling, institutions gobbling up sold coins. I mean, that's also true. Agree, no retail as well. People have not as much. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of one of the bigger problems, to be honest, is that restrictive policy has actually been pretty damning to a number of people. So they just haven't got. And the other thing to think about, which we haven't really talked about for a while, but it's worth noting, and we have sort of discussed this, is, for example, look at this. A 30-year government-backed bond right now is offering you 4.8% in yield. Why would you go and do anything else when you can get 4.8% on a government-backed security, 4.1% on the 10-year, even the 2-year is 3.58%. Well, if we were to look at, say, this, for example, and we said, well, where is the market at right now for the month of December? Your best bet is to be in government-backed bonds, which obviously if you are, in cryptocurrency, then you're obviously not going to do. But, look at this. So government-backed bonds would have been better, or even like a 30-year would have been better for August, not necessarily September, October, November, December, February, March, June. So if you think of the year, you would have had 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. But that's it. You'd have had less than half of the year was worth being in cryptocurrency, which in comparison to years gone by, and actually when you look at, say, something like this on the weekly candles previously, so you go back to, say, 2021 as an example, then you were way lower than where you've been on some of these. So actually the crypto market was, way more kind of worthwhile going into. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Whether all this plays out in a complete nonsensical standpoint and we end up just going to the moon, I really don't know right now. But I do think there is certainly worth watching. And I feel like with the market doing what it's doing, it's not normal. I mean, some people may say that I'm a lunatic, but it doesn't feel normal. It doesn't feel normal that every single day when the US market's open, the price seems to just completely collapse, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't think it ever will make any sense to me. But hey. Alvin, I do see your message, by the way. I think we should do it Sunday. If you send me a message what it is, then let's do it Sunday. Let's make it worthwhile. Yeah. Yes, Rob, it's been awful. Yeah. I think we should set it up for Sunday, mate. Defos. Okay. So again, that's market news. That's kind of where the market sits. I got 20-year US bonds earning 4.4. Exactly. I mean, like, why would you not? 4.4% on a US backed security as well. That's the reality of it. That is the reality of it. So yeah, interesting. So good. Right. There was something else I wanted to show you guys today, but I can't find it, and it's super annoying me. Today. Like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says, don't panic. Exactly. Don't panic. Is it Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? I thought that was Baldrick from, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Why does US economy have such an impact on the crypto, which is the global because the global currency is essentially the dollar. That's why. And actually, you've got the biggest equity markets in the globe sit in the US. So yeah. It was actually Tomato Pete, you're right. Captain, what's he called? Jones, I think it was. But yeah, that's why, because they're some of the biggest economies. But yeah, so okay, let's talk about what's going on then in a little bit more detail, some more macro news. I guess it's worth coming up. Any word on the project you've involved with on Monad? Not too much, in fairness. Obviously, I'm reconnecting with loads of people because I couldn't do anything. I haven't been able to do anything for a week. So, but yeah, they're still grinding. They've been posting quite a bit on X. If you aren't following me over there, then I would do so because I've been retweeting and kind of keeping people dialed in. But yeah, I'll have some content out about that sooner rather than later, probably next couple of days. So keep your eyes peeled on that. But yeah, Breaking XRP is coming to Solana. Pretty interesting. Now, this was sort of toyed as a potential thing coming on. And yeah, it looks like it's all happening right now, which is kind of interesting, isn't it? So DeFi from Solana is hanging over to XRP, and it's going to bridge over and issue WXRP, which is a Solana DeFi ready token, redeemable at any time, 1-to-1 for XRP on the XRP ledger. Pretty interesting. Solana, you know, still, I think has some legs in it. I still think that Solana's probably going to do okay if the market comes. Someone was asking me about this before. Well, are you bullish or bearish on the market? The market, if the bull run comes, we're golden. If it doesn't, then, you know, there's going to be certainly some cause for concern. But all of this, by the way, on the backdrop of the US regulator, the OCC, approving Bitcoin infrastructure company BitGo and Fidelity Digital Assets to become national trust banks. This is online with Ripple and everything else. So the OCC has conditionally approved applications to convert from a state trust company to a national trust bank for BitGo Bank and Trust National Association, Fidelity Digital Assets National Association, and Paxos Trust Company. Again, federal banking system includes more than 1,000 national banks, federal savings associations, and federal branches of foreign banking organizations. So if you think about this, thoughts on Thorwax? I don't know what it is. Vaughn, I'll take a look at it though in about 10 minutes. We'll take a look at it. With everything going on, you cannot tell me XRP isn't going to at least double in price. Well, I mean, look, the question now, right? The question now is, that's a good little update. Thank you for that, Uma. The question you've got to ask yourself a little bit is, with all the macro stuff that's going on, is the market likely to move up or down? And I think there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of regulation. I do still feel, though, that there is a super divide. I think you're either traditional stocks, Forex, regulation, like, you know, magic internet money, like no one cares about. And so you're just like, I think crypto's a scam. Like, I don't believe it's going to do anything. Or you sit in the world of, actually, this is genuinely transformational move of the markets, and actually we're going to see a totally different financial structure that moves in. And all of this then becomes pretty bullish. You know, banks issuing cryptocurrency. JP Morgan announced they moved $16 trillion on chain. Now, I think it's their own private DeFi chain, but still, 16 trillion. You know what I mean? That's not a short amount. And actually, we see a couple of other key things coming through, specifically, obviously, with the OCC granted the approval to Ripple as well, which, again, is good news. The response, Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse makes a statement directed to the banking lobbyist saying, you've complained that crypto isn't playing by the same rules, but here's the crypto industry directly under the OCC's supervision and standards, prioritizing compliance, trust, and innovation to the benefit of the consumers. What are you so afraid of? To be used to watch Blackadder? Yeah, at my grandparents' house. But either way, and all of this, and I would compare what's going on with the broader market to Shibarium. And you might be thinking, oh, where's he going with this? This is just nonsense, right? This is just nonsense, right? It's not nonsense, okay? Bear with me. I'm gonna state my claim, shall we say, on why I think it's not quite nonsense. So you can have all of this good news, right? You can have all of this adoption. We can see all of this like, oh, market's going to change. This is coming here. This is coming there. Everything's getting super macro bullish, like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if no one does anything with it, then nothing changes. Does that make sense? So yes, great. We got the OCC regulating. They're offering, you know, banks. Ripple's going to create a bank. JP Morgan going on chain, loads of banks getting in, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Charles Schwab, blah, 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 all these. But if no one does anything with it, if everyone just sticks to milk vouchers, milk tokens, and, you know, Christmas gift cards, then nothing else happens to it. But hard to believe that wouldn't be the case. And I think institutions have to drive that for us to then see that kind of play out a little bit more favorably. But I'm still very optimistic about where we're going to go. This on the back, by the way, that the Amina Bank Global is the first European bank to go live with Ripple payments. So not only are they creating a banking sector, we're actually now seeing Europeans adopt Ripple as a potential partner. And actually, what does it mean? Well, the partnership is going to provide compliant bridging between traditional finance and blockchain rails. This through their company called Rails that they run, which essentially means that they're going to be able to move fiat to crypto really easily and vice versa. So yeah, pretty interesting. And Ripple, I think, you know, really positioning themselves for maybe a transitional cryptocurrency that does generally move from DeFi into the kind of traditional finance world. But yeah, pretty interesting if you ask me. Pretty interesting, and certainly one that is, in my opinion, worth being pretty freaking bullish on. Okay, good. And then what else we got? Not anything. If you are obviously looking specifically to get bullish on a number of different cryptocurrencies, then you know what to do. There is a link in the description. Go and check it out. And you'll see there that we've got a little bit of an event for you guys going on. So remember, though, as always, it is important to reference that this is never financial advice on this channel. We just talk about what's going on in the market. But if you are interested, then go and check out that link for sure and go and get some bonuses, which would be great. Price for ICP. Do you know you don't have to type it twice, though? But I got you. I'll definitely be back in at 33 cents. Or you think it's going to go that low? Man, ICP was having a bit of a bad run, wasn't it, over the last couple of days? Yeah, 330 right now. So here's my... Well, it's not even a prediction, by the way. It's just my opinion. Ask yourself why ICP did that big spike up to 987, and then it has now capitulated ever since and is absolutely continuing. This is the literal definition of a dead cat bounce on ICP. Trend is down. Massive spike up for absolutely no reason and then continues to the downside. So that is literally the definition of a dead cat bounce. So I wouldn't hold my breath. It's not financial advice. I just wouldn't hold my breath specifically with ICP. I just think there's other coins out there that people would be more interested in. But yeah, proper ICP. Duck One, yeah, 15 years, I believe. Is that right? Did someone message me? Alvin, you messaged me actually. So yeah, I believe Duck One got 15 years, which, you know, I mean, some would argue it's enough. Some would argue it's not. I haven't even checked on the price of Lunk. I know it kind of went crazy while I was not able to stream, but yeah, interesting. So yeah, Joe Kwon gets 15 years in prison for 40 billion. And think about that, 40 billion. Exit pump's happening all over the price. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I'm bullish on Hype and AVAX. I mean, you know, AVAX definitely still feels like it's undervalued against the market, but I mean, man, what do I know right now? It's kind of insane. Kind of insane. The markets are pretty wild. We just have to kind of sit tight and see what happens. What's going on, Fairground? Yeah, I had a channel strike that stopped me from live streaming for 7 days, which ended yesterday, so I'm back. On Total 3 since October 24, we're still uptrend, but from October 25th, we're downtrend. Yeah. I mean, the whole market's in a bit of a downtrend, isn't it? But yeah. Curtis, Ben, Alan, John, the run. Okay, I don't know what it means. Yeah. No, I think it's actually in prison. I think so. Sit tight and see what happens. 100% some. Yeah, exactly. It really does, though, doesn't it, Fat Sonic? It really does. It is absolutely one of those places where you have to just kind of go, okay, let's just see what happens. I do think that if you look at a lot of the intricacies of what's going on with this market, it's easy to conclude. It's easy to draw conclusions either way. I think it's very easy to draw conclusions and say, right, the bear market's here. We're going to zero, whatever, right? Even when you look at, say, something like the FIB, which we obviously have been tracking for a while, we are still holding up pretty well on some of these key price points. We haven't broke out of this support range, but look, you can see there the 0.5 at 89,731 is actually a strong support. And we've been messing around with this support level for a while. There is only so long that it will either stick there or not, or break or not. So, you know, from that standpoint, you say, well, you know, maybe maybe just the market. Maybe the market is super delayed. Someone just typed in there about the business cycle. The business cycle changed to 5 years due to extended low interest rates, bull run coming. Well, that and the default movement of a huge amount of debt. So back in 2021, the US actually moved, I think it's like 6 trillion or some crazy number like that of expiry debt. So you look at debt expiry in the USA, which essentially is things like bonds and all the rest of it that is doing, then it's been moved back a year because of the pandemic and everything else that came in. So that is why a lot of people believe the business cycle will move back a year, which then a lot of people think that will generate the 2026 market. Maybe. I mean, this bull run's been kind of wild. Think about it. We moved before halving, which we shouldn't normally and have never done before. And we were at new all-time highs before the Bitcoin halving ever happened. That's kind of crazy. You've had a pro-crypto stance point from the President of the United States. That's never happened before. Equally, you've got companies he's, let's say, associated with or has ties to that are very deep in terms of cryptocurrency. Like, there's a lot of positive stuff that should tell us the market's got more to give. At the same time, though, on the caveat and the flip of the other side of the coin is 4-year cycle is pretty much played out perfectly. In fact, I think the 4-year cycle ended up on something like the 25th of October. That's kind of been and gone. And actually, we've been downtrending since the kind of, early part of October. So, we're not sort of super crazy in terms of that. So, you say, well, that bit certainly. What's going on, JF? That's kind of potentially a bit of a thing that hasn't come in. So, yeah. Hi, mate, can you give your thoughts on ADA or Doge? I'm looking for a long-term swing. Well, ADA's had a pretty rough ride, and I would argue you've got to ask yourself one question when it comes to the Cardano. By the way, I own a little bit, not loads, but my opinion here on Cardano is that this is a very telling structure. So you've got this random pump on Cardano that no one really knows why, and then it dumps straight all, like literally all the way back. Tells me this is a fake move. Now, I've always been the place that I thought Cardano was actually going to be all right, but yeah, turns out it's not. I've always been the world, by the way, of, stable coins and all the rest of it. And they need to get on there. And then what was the other one? Dogecoin. I mean, you need a broader market move on Doge, and you need a broader market move specifically on memes. And yeah, it doesn't feel like that's coming right now. I mean, you look at Dogecoin as an example. It's broke the trend. It's broke the upward sloping channel. Like, it's the perfect bear flag, isn't it? In, up, down, and down we go. That is, I mean, that's about as perfect as you get. You're looking for a bottom now on Dogecoin, I think. Which is probably fair to say on a number of them, by the way. I do actually think we're looking for a bottom on a number of coins, and then that will sort of play out. But I mean, that is literally the most typical, bear flag that you get, in my opinion. I don't know if that helps, but hopefully it does. Is saying AI coin? I'm looking at it right now. I mean, kind of ish. I mean, not really, but kind of ish. Dash. I mean, it's hard to say. Monero's awful. I mean, that's really taking a hit. Zcash seems to be just the coin that is going to be driven. It's like the modern day Lunk to a degree, isn't it? Where people are just FOMOing in it and trying to sort of see what happens with it. So Zcash maybe. Dash, man, it's super old coin. Super old coin. I mean, I don't even know what the price of it is right now, to be honest. We could what is that? Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't even know what the price of it is. Where's it at? 46. Man, old school coins were way more fun. Down 6% on Dash. So what's its all-time high was like $1,600. So yeah, I mean the nervous is on something like Dash is it's just going to bleed out as it's doing right now. And I think where you've got something like Zcash, which feels like it's got super hype around it. I don't feel like Monero. I don't feel like Dash. I'm trying to think what some of the like super old coins were. Sia coin, probably another one. Doesn't really have the same appeal right now. Agreed, you brought the trend bad. I was hoping you'd say something I did not. Thank you, brother. Hey, no problems, man. Appreciate it. I like to honestly when I transfer money between wallets because, yeah, I mean, look, saying some of those layer 2s are pretty good. But I always trade it super fast. Yeah, well, look. That's the reality. Sometimes they are just the best way to do it. Avoid memes at the moment. I don't touch them unless it's the bull market. I mean, that's true. If you've got less capital and liquidity flowing into the markets, then stay away from the higher risk ones. Worth noting, by the way, and I don't know if you saw this, but I did tweet about this yesterday. Oops, that the S&P 500 continues to rally and continues to push higher, which is pretty interesting as well. So the S&P 500, it is still all hugely driven by the AI bubble, and we need to be mindful of that because if I hope one of my kids doesn't wake up. If it bursts, it's bad news. So for example, here we go. So I want to see, and everything just seems to be taking forever right now. It's like the computer's like, oh man, we haven't done this like live streaming thing for ages. Like, what is going on? It's taking forever. What is this? I don't even know what this is. This might be better, actually. Is there not a way of turning this? Oh my god, this is awful. Is there not a way of like... Bro, come on. So yeah, so for example, with things like Tesla, it pumped today. You've got OpenAI, I think was doing some decent numbers today. Like, they're all the ones to kind of keep your eyes on. the AI bubble goes pop, then the market's going to be pretty painful. Yeah. Tell me about it, Craig. Tell me about it. But look, it is what it is. And one of the twins isn't very well, but I think she's all right. I think. Who knows? 15,000 likes and come. Let's get it. I'm buying HBAR XLM and Sui daily. Nice, Umar. Yeah, I like Sui. I've been looking at Sui again. Do you think good altcoins? I have a really. I'll have. I think you can be really generalistic with this. You can be really kind of take a really broad view of the market because one won't move without the other. So if you believe that Bitcoin has still got a big move in 2026, everything's aligning for 2026 to be the month or the year or whatever it is that we believe that this is going to see a significant move, then you kind of go, altcoins will move as well. They'll probably move in February, but you could argue and say, well, maybe that's how it's going to play out. So I think it's way more broad than anything else. You just kind of go, is it about to move or not? And if you think it is, then great. And if you don't, then, which isn't the answer I know you want, by the way, but that's probably where I sit with it specifically. I need the S&P to pull at a 10% at least correction. I keep thinking the F50 is where it needs to go. Really, on the S&P, I mean, they reckon, I mean, I'm trying to think who upgraded their price target of it. Like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they all reckon like 7.7. I mean, Tom Lee believes that Ethereum's going to do like 20K by the end of the year. It's like, Tom, do you understand it's like the 12th of December? Like, what? Anyway, do you think good? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think I read that, didn't I? Computer says no. Yeah, it feels like it at the minute. Hey, what do you think about Doge, Sol, 3D Dog? I think if I'm dead honest, I feel like it's really, I feel like I did a video on that ages and ages ago. So unless it's kind of done something crazy, then my view would be it'll be the same as any coin that's been out for a while that hasn't really done it. You got that flu up there? No, mate, I'm all good. I mean, one of the twins isn't particularly very well, but just has a cough more than anything. Yeah, my computer is really struggling right now. I don't know why. Why is it struggling so much? Anyway, so yeah, this is baby Doge. I need my baby Doge. I need my baby Doge. Oh, this one. Is it this one? It'll be this one, right? Oh, that one. Okay, yeah, I got it. It looks. Oh man, I don't even know. I think it's been out a while, so my view is that it's probably not going to do a lot. Is my gut feeling. I just can't find the actual. I can't find the actual. I can't find the actual coin. I thought it was that one there. 10 million in liquidity, but it doesn't look like it's doing much. So yeah, not sure. Not sure. It needs a reset. Yeah, with the S&P, I don't understand how a chart goes up and to the right that hard and for that long. So much money there hasn't been profit taking yet. Well, there has. You hit the nail on the head. There's so much money going into it. It's the AI bubble. Look at Nvidia. Look at Apple. Look at Microsoft. Even Tesla like bounced back. That's the problem. Like the S&P 500 is 47% of the Mag 7. Like it's insane how much is built up on AI, and loads of it's all interlinked. So part of the reason the market dumped today is because you had the potential of OpenAI not buying any more chips. Like it was just like, oh, maybe we're going to do it. Because there's obviously loads of this debate around selling chips to China and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, like that's been the biggest problem. I just want to see 10-20% correction on tech at least if energy production needs to be. Yeah. Well, yeah, the data center news. Oracle delays some data center projects to OpenAI. Interestingly, Oracle, by the way, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but Oracle actually has links to XRP as well, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it actually does. But yeah, oh man, I pressed the wrong button. So Oracle delayed some data center projects for OpenAI to 2028. The market was like, nah, bro, let's get out of this. Let's get out of it. And that's kind of why you saw this, this kind of dump in the market, really. Is there not a way of like turning this to... Why do so many websites not have like a dark mode? It's super annoying. Anyway, but yeah, that's what happened there. Trump says rates should be 1%. I mean, that's the other thing you got to think about is Jerome Powell will come out in May. So Powell will be out in May. Well, we assume it is an assumption versus anything else. Kevin Hassett will move into that position. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. It's unlikely, I think, that he doesn't personally. And Kevin Hassett, we know, is pro Bitcoin, pro rate cuts, and he's kind of, you know, let's not say Trump appointed, but certainly will be more open and receptive to potentially more market moves, if that makes sense. US needs rate cuts for its needs. We need to incentivize. Well, I mean, the rate cuts, interestingly enough, right now, is they believe we're going to sit tight at around 3.5%, 3.75, with 25% around 3.25. So expectation for the January 28th meeting is that we might see a little bit of a rate cut. We'll have to see. Aave at the bottom of its parallel channel. I mean, yeah, I mean, Aave doesn't really move a lot, though, does it? I think Aave's actual utility is probably what people generally go for. Man, it's 191. I thought it was way higher than that. That's wild. Timmy, do you think the Japan rate hike next week is priced in? 96 says it's happening. No, I don't think it's priced in. Because I think people still believe that Japan will do what they've done for 30 years and not raise it. The problem is, I think they'll raise it. And yeah, it depends what the market then wants to do on the back of it. And equally what the narrative. If you see more spending, more fiscal spending going into AI, then we're probably going to be fine. So for example, AI, Nvidia's balance sheet, OpenAI, Oracle, some of these big tech companies, if they keep pumping their balance sheet, then fine. If they don't, then yeah, it could be pretty, man, I didn't want to do that. Could be pretty spicy. Honestly, take a look at BCH chart and let me know what you think. Were we talking about this before? 579. So it is down. I think it was like 600 and something when we were talking about BCH before, right? I feel like it was. I mean, it's kind of wild that it is on a macro uptrend and has been since like 2023. What was its all-time high? 4355. I mean, that is insane. But that would have been when it's way more correlated to BTC when it came in. More 5 months of Powell's purple tie. What color tie will Hassett wear? I mean, he probably just coming about a tie because he's cool. But I mean, whether Powell will be involved in it, I don't know if he sees the new year personally. But you know, I guess we'll see. Rate cuts will take 12 months before it helps. Redemption's in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you, bud. 2-hour time frame. Oh, is it on Aave? Yeah? I mean, yeah, look, I mean, Bitcoin Cash doesn't look crazy. Up 1% in a pretty challenging market right now. So, I mean, Ethereum Classic's been holding up pretty well, but let me see if I can just grab this. Man, I didn't mean to do that. Right, here we go. I think I got it. Okay, perfect. This is what I need. So if you take something like Nvidia, for example, which we all know has got like the most enormous market cap in the world, and you sort of look in terms of what they've got and where they're spending, what you want to look at is what their liabilities are, and then equally where their balance, as in their like capital debt, is as well, because obviously more debt is bad news, especially like potentially going into a recession. You don't want to have debt. Debt's bad news in a recession. And then what the other thing to think about is working capital. So look at this working capital number, right? So working capital essentially would be what they can reinvest, what they can put into it. Look at how increasing this is. 24, 18, obviously 2023, not great. 33, $62 million. Like what? Bruh. You kidding me right now? Man, what is one of the twins doing? Literally just like got the worst cough in the history of mankind. Like, stop coughing. But yeah, so, you know, and then if you were to say, look at, man, let's take a look at Oracle's probably quite a good one as well in terms of their balance sheet. And this is where it becomes pretty interesting. So look at the working capital on Oracle, by the way, negative 8 million, tangible assets, negative 46 million. Like, this is going the other way. And this is, I think, why they've delayed the data centers. And obviously, data centers are pumping loads of money into it. It's the AI, you know, revolution, should we say. BCH only dumped 20% on October 10th. Nice. Yeah, just look at all the alts and I look at April 25 lows, alt 10. I mean, that's true. That's true. Crash Wave 3, destination 60K. Jericho! What's going on, bro? Yeah, GM just stick to BTC and one of the two old strongs. I mean, that's all. Yeah, BTC and Litecoin, man. I don't see a lot of people talking about Litecoin, but good. Okay, so that sort of takes us through a little bit of that. that is, for me right now, is the big crux. Are we going to get a continuation on the AI spending? If we are, fine. If we're not, then that's where it could come bad news. As an example. Right, where is... man, there's a lot here. Fiscal shareholder returns. We don't want to look at all this nonsense. We just want to know what you're spending on AI. Okay, here we go. What's this? Year and research. Yeah, perfect. That's what I want to show you. So again, going back a little bit to NVIDIA, this kind of gives you an idea of just how much money has been chucked into it. So operating expenses on research and development expenses. This is essentially the AI narrative. So you could argue this is what's been dumped into OpenAI, into all this kind of thing. $12.9 million for January 2025. January 2025. I mean, that's insane. That's up $4.5 million on 2024. Going into it, increasing research and development expenses for fiscal year 25. Oh my God, that scared me to death. We're driven by 32% increase in compensation benefits, including stock-based compensation, reflecting employee growth, and compensation increase to 100% increase in compute and infrastructure. So, whatever you've kind of got this, I think we're fine. Whatever we don't have this, it's not going to be good. And I think the Japanese bonds and yields are probably what we need to worry about. If you remember a while back, we talked about this chart. This chart is still going up. And until this chart comes down, then expect this to essentially do this. That's what we need it to do. Whether it will or not, feels like it probably isn't going to in the short term. But that's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Cheese, what's going on, bro? Welcome in. 100% spot, even though leverage gives me anxiety. I mean, yeah. You want to be, in my opinion right now, not financial advice, just my opinion, I think risk management is the key right now. Risk management. Can the markets move? Yes. Could we see a bull run in 2026? Yes. Work your odds and likelihood. That's my opinion. Incoming, this one suits you. What's that? Incoming, this one suits you. Have I missed something? Fairground says... Oh, my phone's been super slow as well. So who's running the AI stuff, mate? It needs to be started. Well, I mean, that's the big moral question, isn't it? That is the big moral question about who, what, and when AI becomes too much. And I mean, there's some crazy things on it, in it, but yeah. I mean, the honest answer is I don't think anyone's running it, but that's how I mean, if you go down a conspiracy theory and you go down all these kind of crazy worlds, that is essentially how the world sort of comes to an end, isn't it? Because it's like, well, AI starts to build its own AI, and the way you get, it's like quantum computers. You know, when people say, well, quantum computers, they're going to take over, they're going to essentially, break the markets, they're going to crack Bitcoin, it's going to be a disaster, blah, 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 blah. The way we get there is you're going to have AI builds quantum computers to crack Bitcoin, which means that then AI needs to be built by quantum. It's just like this never-ending cycle that you just end up with, Cyberdyne and everything else taking over. And we don't want that. We don't want that. Whatever your stream did, it almost killed my browser. My stream's not doing anything. It's just chilling. We're just chilling right now. Well, I don't know if it's a bit laggy on YouTube's end. I'm not really sure, but everything looks fine at my end. Everything looks fine at my end. So, man, what are you sending? Like, what even are these things? That looks wild. Commodore 64 computer. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? So, yeah. So, I think that's kind of some of the key things to think about. Fiscal spending in AI. Good news, all right? The minute that dries up, which is why you've seen a massive dump in the market, because everyone's panicked about the fact that the data centers delay for Oracle happened today. So that's kind of where people are freaking out, and that's why you've seen the market dump as well. So I think it was a piece by Oracle. Yeah, Oracle cores push back the completion dates for some of the data centers it's developing for the artificial intelligence model developer OpenAI. So, this is Sam, what's he called? Sam Altman. The delays are largely due to labor and material shortages. So think about that. So they're basically saying we can't build these data centers because so many people will build it. Oh no, the labor market's going to zero. Oh no, everything's way more expensive. Oracle has been working to deliver a 300 billion contract to supply computer power necessary to train run OpenAI's model since it was linked in the summer. Oracle and OpenAI declined to comment. Oracle shares fell more than 6.5%. So, agreement 2-bit, we're looking forward to the meteoric rise soon. Let's hope so, man. We are building, we are AI building AI. Either we're the first or the last infinite. Yeah, I mean, I think once it's there, though, it's there, which is kind of wild, isn't it? Which is wild. But yeah, I think that's kind of where we're getting it. Vern, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, the weird like SpongeBob thing. Is that the one you sent? Everything just seems super laggy at my end. Like my computer's a bit laggy. The live stream on my phone's a bit laggy. Like, yeah, Curtis, yeah, pretty bullish. They've relaunched the Commodore 64. Have they actually? Oh, really, Andy? That's pretty bullish. Nice. Bullish. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's lots of good news coming up right now. Fact is, the market's just a bit naff. You can't really play it any other way. It's just a bit naff. But, you know, Mouse in the building. What's going on, bro? Welcome in, man. Hope you're all doing well. It's good to be back. On a serious note, it is actually really good to be back. It has felt like it's been a long time, but yeah. But it's been good to get back. Mike, I wouldn't stress. Looks fine my end. Okay, cool. I was more of a ZX Spectrum. I see. I was a Commodore 64. It had something called Supercars, which was pretty cool. So yeah, so that's kind of where we sit. That's the overall market. If you guys got any questions, thoughts, opinions, or anything else, let me know. Hit me up in the chat, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on YouTube. Then yeah, over to you guys. Let's see how you all feel about the markets. What's on your mind? Question time. Over to you. You cannot predict what's going to happen from one day to the next at the moment. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you can't even predict the news, can you? You can't even predict, like, as a macro stuff, what's going on. You're like, well, I mean, the only good news is the weekend, because the weekend tends to be pretty quiet and has done, what, for the last, like, 4 or 5? And we actually see a little bit of a Sunday, but, yeah. Mouse, yeah, Mouse, this is my first live stream back in over a week, so. But, yeah. Do you think we'll see 5? I mean, I don't think. I don't, again, anything like that, it all depends on whether 2026 actually delivers, whether it is all linked to the ISM cycle, whether the fact that Jerome Powell is going to be replaced, whether all of that lines up, could give us a good move in 2026. The only thing I would say is even the most bullish of individuals have been like 2026, 2026, 2026, 2026, have suddenly gone, well, I might be wrong. I might be wrong. So, yeah, I guess we'll have to kind of wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, in my opinion. Did Japan increase it? Not yet. It's like another week. It's like the 19th or something like that. In fact, let's bring the economic calendar up and see what's going on. Because we don't, obviously now, there's not a lot of data going on. Not a lot of stuff's happening. The other thing to note, which we haven't really looked at, is this. XRP inflows. I said they'd sit around 30 mil. That's pretty much exactly where they are. This feels like the number on 7. So we need to get a couple more. But, you know, look, 30 mil, take 30 mil, and 19, probably 20 days now in inflows, which is good news. So, yeah, so what have we got coming this week ahead of us? A couple of speeches. That could be an interesting one. Stephen Mirren speaking. We don't have a lot. Non-farm payrolls could be big. Probably not. Unemployment rate, maybe. Not really anything else that week. I think it's all like the week after, right? Yeah, here we go. Thursday the 18th, CPI. And then we get jobs data, I think, from November, which is going to be pretty interesting as well. So jobless claims comes in, initial jobless claims, CPI, inflation rates, existing home sales no one cares about, durable goods, GDP growth rate. That could be an interesting one. Tuesday, December 23rd. What do they predict it? But yeah, I think next week's going to be pretty interesting. Next week could be interesting. Fed balance sheet review. Not that I think that's the biggest deal in the world right now. We know what they're doing, but certainly CPI Thursday. I thought we had something else. Manufacturing payrolls, no. Maybe it's this, but I thought it was something else. Maybe not. Maybe not. I grew up with a side hustle of clearing offices for the rebuilding and restart. Nice. Magic Craig, I like your style. But yeah, Japan rate cuts are, I think it's like the 17th or something. Let's have a look. So they normally do them on, when's the next one? Okay. Next. I think it's the 17th. Oh, I go where? I can't find it. Man, does everyone know what it is? Why can't I find it? That's super annoying. Yeah, so just which is all priced in. Well, whether it's priced in or not, I don't think it is. But yeah, so we know it's coming. I just can't find the date. I can't find the date. Bank of Japan will likely maintain. Yeah. The Bank of Japan to pledge more rate hikes, which is again not good news actually. So, but the only time it becomes a problem is if the Japanese carry trade isn't as unwound as I think a lot of people believe. Now, I think personally, 19. Thank you, mate. I think personally that it is actually more unwound than I think a lot of people are giving it credit for, and I think it's probably not going to be the biggest thing. The problem you've got, and this will be this is what we saw prior, is that people will front run, or at least attempt to front run the carry trade and try and sell everything. You're like, oh, bro, like what? But hey, I mean, that's just what it is, isn't it? That's just life. People will FOMO buy, FOMO sell, FOMO panic, FOMO this, FOMO that. It is what it is. It is what it is. I guess we kind of have to wait and see. A lot of the macro still feels okay. A lot of the under the skin stuff still feels a little bit on rocky ground. So, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting couple of weeks as data, etc., sort of, comes through and sort of plays through in a specific element. That's going to be the biggest thing. So, yeah. How about the crypto Dash? Jackson, we looked at Dash earlier on. I'm not the biggest fan in the world. And I think an old school 2021 coin, or even, I think it might even be lower than that, 2017. Not sure what it's going to do versus some of the newer coins that we have out there. So yeah, just my opinion. If you want to get me on anything, by the way, drop me a DM. If you're there on TikTok, likewise, you can find all my links to socials, etc., in the description, as well as our disclaimer. Remember, this channel is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just here talking about cryptocurrency on the internet. If you want to find out all of those risk statements, please read the disclaimer down in the description. While you're down there, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. It's definitely worthwhile, in my opinion. So yeah, good. All right. Well, if you guys, I don't know if you guys got anything. Okay, just bought this game stock, TikTok, 51K. What? I see them all the time, but I don't really know what they are. These computers, well, yeah. I mean, imagine how many of them would have actually been there. I guess your old neighbor is sort of, yeah. I mean, it's always the debate, though, of how much Bitcoin is actually being thrown away, how much Bitcoin's gone. Man, look at that. AIOZ. Quant's still up as well. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Quant's still green. Who would have thought that, hey? Who would have thought that Quant would be green? Anyway, what time is it? Oh, 10:05. 10:05. Man, it is good to be back. I'm not going to lie. That time flew by, and yeah, I definitely will probably most likely stream tomorrow if anyone is interested. If you haven't already, by the way, jump in the Discord, free Discord. You can get in there. Again, we talk all things cryptocurrency, so check out the links in the description. Don't forget, if you are interested in, getting hold of trading and doing all the rest of it, check out the link in the description and head on over and grab some of these rewards. If you are interested, definitely will check that out for sure. And yeah, I think that's about us. I think we're super bullish, and I think there's a lot to talk about in the markets. Yes, we've seen another little push down today, but overall, what would I say? It is great to be back live streaming, and fingers crossed. Yeah, it's fine, Fat Sonic. You'll find it in the description. Fingers crossed, everything all now plays out. Everything is okay, and yeah, we can kind of crack on now, and we've got a lot to get through. There's lots happening over the course of the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we've got a bit more data coming out. I don't necessarily think it's kind of super crazy, but it is worth sort of noting, and worth kind of just being all over that we need to certainly keep our eyes out for. So, as always, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It is, like I said about a million times, great to be back. Thank you so much for the support. I massively appreciate it. You guys are making it happen. And as always, look out for tomorrow's live stream. If not, if you don't catch us, we'll be back Sunday night. Until then, thank you so much for watching. You guys are absolutely fantastic. See you on the flip side. Take care.